On a cold January night, you can always stay nice and warm with a good family game we like to call Convince Me, about players, teams, and topics. I present a topic to the gentlemen. They try to convince me their point of view is the right one, and we keep score, as you know, Grant, because you've really been on me about the scorekeeping and the results of the past couple of weeks.
Got to hold you accountable.
Get your game face on, man. You're like so serious.
I'm locked in, man.
I like that. All right. David, start us off.
Yes.
We had to call an audible today regarding Convince Me as well because of the David Blatt firing. So convince me that with Blatt gone, that it isn't over in Cleveland, that Kevin Love will, or convince me he will not be moved by the Cavaliers as they continue to go forward.
I will say no, and the reason why is because I think they've already had the enough upheaval. Bringing Lou in, that's a totally new dynamic, and I think you have to give him an opportunity to try and figure out a way to integrate Kevin Love in the offense better. And maybe he has some ideas that haven't been utilized. I just think trading Love will create another dynamic, and then there's going to be more questions about, well, are you trading Love because you think he's not good enough, or he's part of the reason why they've underachieved against the good teams, and I don't think that's fair to Kevin Love. So my sense is this was the big move from David Griffin. I would be surprised if they did anything else.
Is he movable? Is he tradable?
Oh, he's movable.
Okay.
Sure.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, normally when it comes to trades, I would defer to David Aldridge because he usually knows these types of things. But I have to, and I'm gonna, in this case, I'm gonna agree with him as much as I want to disagree with him. I just think there's too much is going on here, making the coaching change. Kevin Love, it's almost admitting it was a mistake to re-sign him this summer. And so you have to give it every opportunity to try to succeed and be successful. And sometimes a coaching change, changes, and there's philosophies and principles that Tyronn Lue has independent of David Blatt that he will try to apply and try to at least bring some synergy together with Kevin Love and the rest of the guys. It's easy to put the blame on Kevin Love, and I think that's Dave Griffin talked about the narrative with LeBron James and it being his team. Well, so much is that Kevin Love is a problem. And I think it's bigger than Kevin Love. I think, ultimately they're just not together as a team, and they have an opportunity now to bring that together and be connected. And so, we'll see what happens, but I don't think Kevin Love gets traded by the trade deadline.
I do agree. I think they'll have some conversations.
Oh, no
along
question.
the way.
Oh,
Some teams
absolutely.
will feel them out for
Absolutely.
sure.
Sure.
But I agree.
I mean,
with both
Boston's
of you.
got pieces.
No,
Boston wants to put something together.
Who knows? Maybe Portland's looking for a guy.
Portland could certainly use him. Absolutely.
Think about it. So
yes.
It's out there, but at the same time, I'm going to go with you guys and split the point because I believe you're right. I think that they have to stay with this and stay with their principles. But it's up to you guys to make this work. Yes, Love has defensive deficiency. We know.
Yeah.
So you got to figure out a way to make this.
All right, we got to disagree. So whatever you say, I'm going to disagree.
All right, good. All right. Good. On the 10-year anniversary of Kobe's 81, Grant, convince me which player, not Steph Curry, has a chance to get up there 60 or 70 in a game if all the stars were aligned.
Wow. I think I'm inclined to want to say Klay Thompson, maybe James Harden. But I got to go back with the MVP, the former MVP before Steph Curry, and Mr. Kevin Durant.
Ooh.
He's obviously a great shooter, which is necessary, as we saw with Kobe Bryant. He shoots a high percentage from the free throw line, not afraid of the big moment. And you'd have to take 40 attempts, as we saw with Mr. Bryant, and he would have the ability to make 55, 60% of them, and not many people can do that. But I believe, and my homeboy from D.C., that Kevin Durant can get the job done.
I like that. That's a good choice. That's a solid choice.
Good call. I'm glad you didn't say Klay Thompson because I'm going to say Klay Thompson.
All right.
This guy scored 37 in one quarter. Okay, so he's certainly capable of putting a monster number up there. And in that system and in that offense, a guy like him, wouldn't shock you, right? I mean, they can put up 140 points any game with the firepower that they have. So you combine those two things on a night, let's say they force a lot of turnovers, there's a lot of runouts, a lot of fast break opportunities. I think Klay Thompson's a guy that could do it.
I would be with you, David, only that you mentioned something about Golden State that I think undoes the argument, and that is how they move the ball and share so much. So I think it would have to be everything kind of in one guy's lap to make that happen. And I'm not sure that would be any one single player on Golden State, although certainly Klay is capable of that. So I got to go with KD. This one, if I had to make a choice on that.
Well, I'm glad you went to me first.
Well, I was going to say Harden because Harden may take 50 shots.
You could take
and no one would blink an eye.
That's true.
So I'm going to give you the point. Moving on now. Convince me, David, that bulletin board material matters in this day and time. Look, we've got the stuff with the locker room still smells like champagne and the visitors in Cleveland.
Right.
You got Denver. They were saying that Tom Brady's a whiner and a crybaby. Does all that really matter? I mean, do you need that to get fired up? Convince me that it does. It fuels teams.
I'll tell you why it does. Because last week when we did the game with Golden State and Cleveland, they were dragging. They were dragging. They came into the game, and the players said, the last 4 games, we just dog days of the season. Everybody's trying to get to All-Star. You see it out there. You see that 4 or 5 days off for most of the players, and they can't wait to get there. But you still got to play 9 games before you get there. And you need something in those dog days to get you going. And I think that champagne thing and what I think was a complete overreaction by the Cavaliers to it got Golden State fired up and got them ready to play that game. So I think it does matter in certain situations.
But it worked for them.
It worked
more
for them,
so than,
yes.
than the Cavaliers.
In the reverse,
They
yes.
made their own bulletin board.
Yes, yes.
That's interesting, Grant.
No, without a doubt. I mean, it depends on the time of the year. If you're the Denver Broncos and the New England Patriots, at this point, it doesn't matter. You're going for a Super Bowl. You're going for a championship. You're in the playoffs. Both teams want it bad. That rivalry, Manning versus Brady, everyone's aware of that. So I don't think when you get into the postseason in any sport, but yeah, when you get into certain times of the year, you're in January. It's cold. You're moving around on it's just, there's no light at the end of the tunnel at this point in time. It can definitely get you going, and in theory, it should. Obviously, with Cleveland, who knows? Maybe they got too jacked up. Maybe they were just too excited or too riled up from that. Or maybe they just a little disjointed, not connected, and regardless, it just didn't work out.
Are you a believer in bulletin board material then? Does it work?
Yeah, no, I believe in it. But it depends on the time of the year, I believe.
You gave me a caveat at the end of that.
Okay, I believe it. Yes, I believe
the
it.
point.
Yeah.
You gotta take the point.
No, we split the point. You were both right. But this is it. This is going to be the decider
Bonus.
here
This is
coming
worth
up.
2
The
points.
NBA is really all about style. We talk about clothing. You talk about endorsements, and really in your personal appearance. And I'm talking about hair here. So convince me which player, and we'll throw out a few here.
Okay.
Example, has the most fashionable hairstyle in the NBA right now. So let's take a look. That's Elfrid Payton.
Sure.
And that is just outstanding.
That's a lot of stuff there.
It is.
Working there.
We got Alan Crabb.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
We got is that the Odell Beckham?
That is the Odell Beckham. Good call.
Whoa.
Sideshow Bob.
Robin Lopez.
Sideshow Bob.
And then we've got maybe the most dangerous hair
yeah.
in the NBA.
Boy, that's-
Jeremy Lin, where I think Jared Bayless was the one that caught one of those tips in the eye the other night.
Is that you got a little frosting in there?
Yeah, you got some gel, and
Yeah.
again, that's very sharp. So, Grant, I'm going to give you a first crack at this, and it doesn't have to be that player. You can go off the board. So give me a hairstyle.
Yeah, most fashionable is the question. Yes.
I use that term loosely.
Yeah. How do we define?
Fashion's in the eye of the beholder, obviously.
I kind of like the Jeremy Lin one. Jeremy Lin, it's original, it's different. I think fashion is about sticking out, and people are going to be drawn to it. So you go and see a game, you're going to see that. It's not necessarily my style, as Russell Westbrook's clothing is not my style, but it definitely stands out. Look at me, I'm different. Jeremy Lin, to me, embodies that.
Interesting.
Well, he wears it well.
That's not good. That's not good.
What say you, Dave? Yeah, I'm talking about people's hair.
All right.
Watch my style.
I'm going to go. I was going to pick Peyton because there's a great story with Elfrid Payton. He started growing his hair because they wouldn't cut their hair in high school until they lost a game. And they went to the state championship, and he kept growing the hair. And there's a great story there. He didn't want to cut his hair, so he kept growing it.
So was it a great story or most fashion?
No, I
fashion?
said I was going.
Okay.
There goes
Okay.
Hill.
All right.
You gotta watch out for Hill, man. Hill wants. He's a
But
fighter.
I'm going to go a complete 180. I'm going to go no hair. Give me the Gortat. Give me the
wow.
dome of marching Gortat with no hair.
Oh, wow.
That's what I like. Rock the baldness.
He did this last time.
Rock the baldness.
He made that big convincing closing argument, remember?
I love that.
don't know,
I love that. You got to have the right head. Everybody doesn't have the right head to pull off the baldness. Gortat's got that big head, that big, Drago-like head. I like that. I like the no hair with Gortat. Anybody that rocks the baldness.
Well, David,
I mean, he's towing the line of the rules here. You know,
It's fashionable hairstyle. No
David,
hair is a hairstyle.
You pulled me in last time. I think it was about the Star Wars sequel question, and you sold me.
Right.
This time, I'm sorry, you came up a little short because I really wanted you to pick a hairstyle. So as we tally things up, a point for Grant. And I believe by my math, yes, it's 3-1 Grant Hill taking this week's episode
of sportsmanship, man.
Of ConVince.
I won it 3 times in the NBA.
I'm going to give you the fish handshake. Give you the full fish.
Before we go, and maybe just to bring you around regarding hairstyles,
yes,
we wanted to present this to you.
Yeah.
Wow.
Now you're talking.
I like that.
Yes.
I like that.
Yes.
Just to give you a preview, if you're ever thinking about rocking it.
I could rock it. I could give that I could give that a thought. Think about that.
It gives you a little edge, DA.
Think about that.
It does.
I kind of like the idea.
See?
Something different.
See?
I'm a man. I believe in different new ideas. I'm all for that.
Very good, gents. Appreciate that.
There I am.
Wow. Great episode of Convince Me this time around.
It's like my high school yearbook picture.
Exactly.
Mine looks like Eric Estrada.